It's been in my mind to make this video, and I started in the morning. I filmed it, didn't like it, deleted it, filmed it again. I changed my hair, I did my makeup, I dressed in 5 different outfits, and there's clothes all over the floor. And all of this is to really hide the fact that I am scared. I know people close to me will blatantly disagree with what I have to say and what my opinions are. But you know what? This is kind of important, so I'm gonna talk about it, okay? The Safe Schools Coalition is a program within Australia that seeks to make a safe space for LGBTQ+ kids within school. And they tend to do this by providing resources and information to schools, specifically staff and parents, that just give them lesson plans and give them resources that teach kids about sexuality and teach kids about gender and generally create a more tolerant and sex-positive environment. So the discussion of the Safe Schools Coalition has been in debate a lot recently, but really over the past year, and there's been a lot of negative responses to this program. Specifically, I wanted to address the Australian Marriage Alliance, politicians such as Cory Bernardi and George Christensen, and the Open Christian Letter against Safe Schools Coalition. I'm trying to understand your point here, but generally, if you go to a school within Australia, you're gonna learn about sex anyway, so gay sex is literally the same as straight sex. It won't make your child perverse, it won't make your teacher a pedophile, and it doesn't really affect your child, because when we learnt about sex when we were 11, we didn't all go out and have sex. That's not how it works. Okay, I can understand this argument because I can understand that you think ideas of sexuality and gender are just theories, they're just hypotheses. But really, in the scientific community, it's fact that there are different genders, just as it is fact that there are different sexualities. This has been researched since the late 1800s. I can do a video on that. There is an awesome sexologist called Marcus Hirschfeld. If you don't agree with this, you don't agree with popular science. And at the end of the day, when this is taught at schools, you have the 100% right to say to your children, I don't believe in this. I don't believe in popular science. Just if your school says this, you can sit out because I don't agree with this. While I will disagree wholeheartedly with that view, you have the right to do that. Just don't force that belief onto every single other kid of which this will benefit. Feel sorry for you if you really agree with this view. If you think that sexualities aren't valid or different genders aren't valid and that tolerance within these genders shouldn't be respected, then you don't really care. Both these statements are completely false. They stretch so far with this argument. They found one of the resources and one of the links of which these resources were linked, and then they found that this link, -18, also supports this other organisation which has some sexually explicit content. But that being said, that's not directly by the Safe Schools Coalition. And if you really think that you're stretching way too far with this argument, then there's the argument that it encourages kids to erase their history because of pornography. And again, that's false. I have found the link to deleting history, and that's on -18. And that is specifically to those that are gender diverse or have a different sexuality other than straight to feel safe if they're in the closet and they are looking at resources online. That is their main goal there. There's nothing perverse or pedophilic about feeling safe, and if you are trying to argue that, you really need to get your priorities in fucking check. So this is the quote that the Open Christian Letter to the Safe Schools Coalition quoted from the website -18 in order to argue that they're pro-STIs. And I'll just briefly say it. They say, so I effed up, blah blah blah, long and short of it, I had penetrative anal sex in which I was the recipient, where there was no condom involved, ... So it's not as terrible as you may have expected. Not terrible at all. I went to the -18 website and I clicked a lot of links. You have to specifically be looking for STIs to get this quote in the first place. But the actual quote is that, so I done effed up, blah blah blah, and then right after it says he didn't use a condom, he says, I don't recommend this. No, not at all, not a bit. And then he goes into the process of having a very painful and awkward experience at the STI clinic, and the overall message of that is get checked, be protected, and if it turns out you have an STI, it's not the end of the world, but please be protective in order to make sure this doesn't happen. I feel like you should have that opinion too, because people with STIs are fucking people. The stigma that surrounds this makes it so that more people get STIs because it's less talked about, and then there is less discussion and therefore less preventative things. And then if there's a stigma, they might be less likely to go to a clinic. It's incredibly harmful if you are going to argue this route. Your arguments that it's unsafe to be teaching these techniques is completely false, because these kids that have gender dysphoria are having a terrible time because so many people don't know about this, and they think that different genders or not being the gender you're born with is a myth. Honestly, that is more detrimental than teaching kids different ways to cope with their gender dysphoria. And if you were to actually read it, they teach safe ways of binding. They say just wear extra layers of clothes, make sure you're able to breathe, and they're very cautious of being safe. I really, really wish this was thoroughly read, and I really wish this was read with an open mind and more thinking of the kids this will affect and the kids this will help rather than themselves. Anyway, if you liked it, please give it a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Try not to be too mean because I'm not in a good mood. Okay, bye.